A very warm welcome to the very first Dharma Show. My name's Jo Baldwin Trott, and I'm thrilled to be coming to you live from my garden in East Sussex with my very first guest, who I feel like is actually my twin. I'm sure we were split there. A very warm welcome to Tracey Miller. Hi, Tracey.
Hi, Jo. I'm so excited. Your first show and I'm your first guest. I cannot tell you how honoured I am. So thank you very much for having me.
I know. And when I'm on the Oprah show, I always say Oprah show, you know, when you see me on I was her first guest, you know, I started it all, me and Jo.
We were there together, first show, nailed it.
We got it. We've got it all over it. You're getting a flavour of how this is going to go today, folks. So a very warm welcome. This is the very first Dharma Show. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Tracey. But first of all, as this is the first show, some of you will be used to seeing the Women Leading show. I've also been obviously talking about being fine and mental health with the book that's published about men's mental health. But today is kind of a different story, but it's not really, because this is actually ultimately me sharing with you, and Tracey will be sharing too, our beliefs, our thoughts on purposeful living and purposeful working. So hopefully those two are the same. And we will talk today in more detail about the word Dharma and also about these current times and what that means to you and why it's the most beautiful time to tap into your absolute, true, internal, probably hidden away potential. So that's what we'd like to give to you today. I am now going to introduce you, Tracey, because Dharma, purposeful living, living from your truth, is something I know you do from the very essence of your soul. And so Tracey is a professional coach, mentor, facilitator, empath, and healer. She's worked with hundreds of small businesses over 10 years and helped them generate more income, create more freedom, and build the business they want. Now, this is partly through you have been working individually, but through BBB. And if you haven't heard of BBB before, you'll be hearing it about a lot today, because it's bigger, brighter, bolder, and it's a phenomenal group and offering with various different branches to it. But it's about supporting businesses and business owners to get where they want to. And I'm talking wherever they want to. It's not small fry. If you're trying to stay small and keep yourself small, I'd honestly say, because I can now, because I'm a member, that BBB probably isn't for you. This is for bigger, brighter, bolder. It's about building and getting to like the biggest places you've only ever dreamt of with your business. Have I missed anything off that, Tracey? I think I haven't mentioned that you've spent the last 12 months, you know, reassessing, reviewing the whole situation, and obviously we're going to have some amazing conversations about what has happened. Let's just start with you, Tracey. How are you today? How is everything?
I am good, actually. So it helps massively. I've got a day off tomorrow and it's a long weekend and the sun's out. But yeah, right now, I'm in a really good place. I'm in that perfect place of everything feels really nice and settled, and there's lots of possibility and exciting stuff around the corner. And that for me is like that's my happy place. So yeah, today's a good day. Yeah,
today's a good day. And obviously in the UK, the weather has at last warmed up.
Finally. So, we've literally wrung the clouds out. There cannot possibly be any more rain in those clouds. I mean, it's been insane.
Yeah, we want 5 months now of sunshine, please. Thank you.
At least.
So let's start with Dharma, because this is a topic that you and I can talk about very easily. But there's a lot of people that will be watching this thinking, oh, I've read it somewhere or I've heard of it. And I think Deepak Chopra mentioned it somewhere down the line. Yep. But a lot of people will be unsure of this word. And part of this show is about raising awareness for very good reasons. That Dharma is the place where your inner truth is. It's the reason why you're here. And my interpretation of Dharma is that it's what you are uniquely here for, and what your unique set of gifts are here to serve and to bring to this planet in this time. What would you like to add to the word Dharma, Tracey? What do you see as the word Dharma?
So I think you've nailed it actually in your description. It's exactly that. For me, it's that perfect place where you are truthfully connecting with, like you said, your gifts, but in a way that makes your soul sing. So, you know, you are serving, you are working, you are delivering, but it's not a chore, it's not hard, it's just what you feel like you were born to do. And it doesn't mean it's easy, because it's not. You know, there's lots of things that you have to put around this to actually, for example, grow a successful business around it. But it's that, you know, the day to day, the, you know, what you're doing on a day to day, it just makes your soul sing. And, you know, there aren't many people out there that are privileged enough to be in that place. And I think, you know, we need more. We need more for ourselves, for each other. You know, more people need to be in that space.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, when it makes your soul sing. And it really, and the other word that I want to bring in now is like flow.
Yeah.
And a great mentor of mine in the past who I adore, and she absolutely stayed true to her word, and she is her Dharma. She lives and breathes her Dharma. Is Sylvia Baldock, who founded one of the Athena groups, the women's network. She always kept saying to me, Jo, what's your flow, Jo? Get in your flow. And when you're working from your Dharma, you're working from what feels your soul desires you to do. It's in your flow. It comes easily, and it feels phenomenally natural. It's like it's not ever working then, it's playing.
It is.
And the money happens to fall into your bank account at the same time. That is the ideal. And I know there's work to do to get to that point. But I feel when you're working from your true purpose in life and your Dharma, and you combine that with setting your intentions, putting it out there, what you desire from this abundant world that we live in, then you've got nirvana on earth.
I completely agree. And you touched on there, you know, there's work to do. And a lot of the work is to remove the you know, the fears and the doubts and just the layers of crap that we've picked up along the way, that they're just in the way. You know, it's not like you go on a treasure hunt to find your Dharma. It's in there. And it's, you know, the journey that you have to go on is just removing all the crap that's in the way. And it's a bit like a Pandora's box. You know, once you start on that journey, you definitely can't pack it back in again. So it takes courage to start, and once you've started, you have to keep going. But it's a journey, so worth it. But yeah, it's about remove all the shit that you've picked up along the way, and it's there. It is just there underneath. And once you connect with that truly, and once you have those moments where you forget time, you know, you're just in the zone, you forget anything around you apart from what you're doing in that moment, then you know you're at the very least touching on it. Yeah
Absolutely. And I like to see it as labels. You know, I think when we're born, and as we go through those key 8 years, first 8 years of our lives, we attach these labels to ourselves, or people offer us these labels, say, here, do you fancy that? Do you fancy wearing that label? And we take these labels, and these labels are our values and our beliefs. But actually, you know, we don't need these labels and we don't need these beliefs and values from others. We only need our own. And some of us have had a harder journey. They've been stuck on real well. You know, you've had to soak them, and you've had to scrub them, and it's been painful, like with a Brillo pad.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, oh my God, gee, that hurt. But actually taking them off is then bearing your truth. And you know, we don't need them. And you know, and I was definitely born into a family with all the wrong labels, really. And you know, it's taken me 40 years to take all mine off. And at last, you know, it has taken a lot of healing, a lot of work, a lot of guidance from the right people, mentors, coaches, and everything. So, you know, I personally, I feel that it really starts with establishing what are your values and beliefs and what aren't. But what would you say? So people watching today, how would you suggest they can start finding out about their Dharma, Tracey?
So you made a really interesting point. So we do, you know, up until the age of 7, 8, we're like a sponge. So we're just absorbing data, you know, picking everything up. We trust the people around us. You know, we are naturally trusting. So we trust the people around us. And you're right, they give us all this information. But what happens is, you know, our primary purpose, or you know, our subconscious primary purpose, is to be safe. And so what we're doing in those formative years is we're grabbing information about what the world is and who we are and how the two fit together, and we're establishing all of that information at the tender age of, you know, up to 8. And then we just don't go and review it. We're like, right, okay, that's done that. That's me, that's the world, got it. And then we continue out through the world. And it's not until we get older that we suddenly realize that actually these labels, these strategies that we've developed just aren't serving us anymore. You know, it's not until we get that reflection from the world that we start thinking, okay, well, I probably need to start taking a look. I love that you've removed all your labels. I am very much a work in progress. So, you know, I've done a lot of work over the years, but, you know, I am so far from done. And, you know, what's fascinating about this period now is, you know, as we're getting squeezed, which we are as business owners, as people, we are getting squeezed. Shit's coming to the surface. And, you know, stuff that I thought the label had come off, you know, what I didn't realize there another invisible bloody label underneath that label, and this one's tattooed on, so it's going to take a little bit more removing. So yeah, it's a constant journey of really self-discovery. And, you know, I'm trying to, so one of the things I struggle with sometimes is articulating the journey, but I'm actually in the process of writing a book at the moment about like my journey. So, you know, what have I done over the years to get to where I am today? And the thing for me that's been imperative is having the courage to go on a journey of self-discovery. It's being, so I'm always been a truth seeker, which has been both amazing and got me into a world of trouble all at the same time. But I want the truth, you know, I'm constantly picking at stuff because I want to know, well, why is that like that? And why are we being told that? And why is that happening? Because that doesn't make any sense to me. But when you go on a journey of self-discovery, true self-discovery, of understanding who you really are, you know, from the roots to the behaviors, to your beliefs, to, you know, once you really understand all of that, what you realize is that you are a beautiful, whole, incredible human being underneath it all. You've just had a load of shit that's been piled on the top. So, you know, we talked at the beginning about me being an empath. I only found that out 3 or 4 years ago when somebody recommended a book on the Empath Survival Guide. And I'm reading this bloody book thinking, why the hell have I not been told this before? It makes so much sense. The decisions that I've made, the reactions I have to things make so much sense. Now I understand this. And the moment we can get understanding, we can start to have a bit of a thing about forgiveness. We'll come to that in a sec. We can start to accept. So we can start to truly accept who we are. And then we can let go. And so understanding, acceptance, let go. Understanding, acceptance, let go. That's the process. So, you know, empath is one, but I'm a big fan of personality tests. So I really like the 5 elements personality test. So that tells you whether you're, you know, wood or air or fire. It's quite a spiritual test, but it's bloody accurate. And it's suddenly, I mean, that again, I only did that about a year ago. And, you know, again, that's like, oh, so that's why I react like that. That's why I do this. That's who I am. And so, you know, constantly having the courage to really look into who you fundamentally are as a person, look into your past and all the learnings. When you pull all that apart, it all makes sense. And the moment it all makes sense, you can accept it and you can let go of the bits that aren't serving you. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Have the courage to really, truly understand who you are. You're not finished. You're not done. You know, you're not a finished product. There is so much more if you have the courage to start picking it apart. But yeah, it is a little bit of a Pandora's box, I have to say. But it gets addictive, you know. Once you start, you kind of, you know, it's quite addictive. You want to see just how much you can know. But yeah, that would be my advice.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think there's a whole module there and a whole chapter for your next book maybe. But sure. You know, that's really, you just kind of nailed it of the process, really, because it's like a recognition, right? What is this? What does that look like? And then how can we, and I feel that a lot of people hold back because they know there'll be change, there will be change, and also they know that it's going to change their relationships. I personally feel relationships are what hold people back from stepping into their truth. I mean, I've had to step away from virtually my whole family to be who I am, but I've committed to do that because I felt like I had no option, because otherwise I just carried on pretending. Not all my family, but some major players in my family have just stepped away from completely until I find that space. So don't worry, I've still got a couple of stickers left, Tracey. They're not all gone for sure. But it's having that, and also giving yourself permission. And this is, I think, where we step into from the child into the adult. We let go of our inner child and we say we're going to embrace what our inner child wants, but we step into that adult mode for ourselves and say, I'm going to start owning my space. I'm going to start speaking and being my truth. I'm giving myself permission to fully show up as me. And that does take courage, because my friends have changed immensely over the last year. I'm not saying I've lost friends, a couple, yes, I have. But you're looking at friends, you're looking at marriages even. And I just, and let's bring on to this, because obviously right now there is an immense amount of, we're being tested. We're being given option A or option B in so many parts of our lives. And actually that's why, as much as this is as a challenging time as ever to really start tuning into your Dharma, it feels like it's, we're challenged anyway. Let's just add a beautiful, soulful element to this that enables us to really look at our whole life and what we can really do with that potential. I know that's part of your message, isn't it? That it feels like right now we're being challenged immensely in all ways.
We are being challenged. I mean, you made an interesting point. I think there are two things people are afraid of when they face embarking on this journey of self-discovery. One is change. 100%. We're not built for change. We don't like change, right? The whole subconscious is designed to maintain the status quo, because the more we can maintain the status quo, the safer our subconscious feels. So we don't inherently like change. So it does then take courage to go against that entire system and do things deliberately that are going to cause change. The other thing that people are afraid of, though, is what they might find. So, if we suspect that underneath it all, we might be a bit of an arsehole, the worst thing that could happen is if, we go on this journey and we find out we actually are. So it's much better just to kind of, hide away from that and, with a, well, perhaps we are, perhaps we aren't. That's much nicer than realizing we actually are. But, sometimes we go down this journey and we realize that, you know what, we have actually been an arsehole. We've actually done some terrible things in our life, but you push through that into understanding why, and, it all opens up again. So once you start this journey, my advice is don't stop. You have to keep going. Don't find out, you're a bit of a dick and stay there. You have to push to the other side, because if you do, you will find out that you are loved, you are amazing, you are an incredible human being, and you have infinite potential. So yeah, 100% with you on that. I can't remember the second bit that you said then, because I wanted to add something to that.
We're just obviously we're being challenged. We're being given option A and option B right now. In quite a few areas of our lives, like pretty much all of our lives, and obviously there. But I personally feel we've had a year and a half of complete mindfulness across the planet. I think it's been remarkable. So I think actually it's creating conversations more than ever around who am I? What do I really believe in? Do I really need to do what I'm told, like I'm a 5-year-old child, by someone who lives in a house and who has shit hair? Do I really need to do what he says, or do I not? It's like, well, and actually from that, all the underpinning of all of that is, as I see it, self-responsibility, and actually taking responsibility for all that you've done, like you say, the cock-ups and everything, is tough. It's tough because you have to step into that adult mode and say, I'm owning that. I messed up big time. I did that. But I feel that's what we're being presented with. It's like, take ownership, make your own decisions. You have free will. That's what we've been given as human beings. Otherwise, we'd still be running around on the ground.
So you know, I'm on the same page with you. You know, we have to. Everybody has to make their own decisions. You know, they have to make their own decisions, and they have to be allowed to make their own decisions. You know, we are adult human beings, and you know, we do have free will, and we should be allowed to make our own informed, educated decisions about, you know, how we navigate this path. You know, just to kind of touch on energy at the moment, one of the reasons why I'm loving you know, Dharma, purposeful living, you know, passion, entrepreneurism, service, is because what we give our energy to is what is perpetuating. And at the moment, we have got a lot of things, noise, pulling our energy into them. And you know, one of the things we can choose is where do we put our energy? You know, as an individual, as a collective, where do we focus our energy? Is it on the misery, or is it on creating something better? And I know where I want to put my energy. So I've had to work really hard. You know, I keep getting drawn over here, and I'm like, no, this is where I want to be. And then you get drawn in again, and you're like, no, this is where I want to be. So it's a constant balance to keep your energy where you want it to be. But the reason I love this whole Dharma and purposeful living so much is because that energy, you know, focus on that. You know, it can only create good things if we focus our energy on purposeful living and service. And, you know, for me, it's the entrepreneurial revolution. You know, I want to see more business owners who are giving back to their communities, who are creating amazing environments for their employees to work, who, you know, it's give and take. You know, people are genuinely happy to come to work, and the, you know, the businesses that they're creating are delivering value, not just to their customers but to the communities. You know, that's what I want to get behind. That's the world I want to create. So I want to make sure that the majority of my energy is focused on that, and not constantly getting pulled back over here. So that's, yeah, for me, the purposeful living thing, that energy, it's real. You know, it's not just, it's realer than you think. You know, it's a tangible thing that is creating our future. And the more we can spend time and energy focused on what we want to create, the better this world is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. And creation comes from desire, which comes from the heart. Desire means of God, of himself, you know, and that comes from the heart. And that, if we start tuning into our hearts and really connecting with what is really coming out from our hearts are speaking to us all the time. We only listen to this.
We do.
You know, turn the volume down on this. In fact, put it on mute. Just turn up the heart button to max and start tuning into what you desire. I think it's been a fascinating time. Lots of companies have really struggled their way. I think that the companies that have come out the other end as caring, nurturing, supportive are the ones that are going to shine, and they're going to grow and grow and grow. But as always, you know, you and I are both advocates for entrepreneurs. It's a time for creativity, and there's lots of scope, isn't there, for businesses that are thinking outside the box, that are talking about spirituality, which is what I'm doing more now.
Yep.
More of my mentoring is about spiritual, multidimensional mentoring. We're not 3D. You know, we've been trying to squeeze into a 3D hole right now, and we're not having it. You know, so it's creativity times, and I know this is something that BBB really promote, and it's one thing I've really loved about being part of the journey with you guys.
I love what you said, which is we're not having it. And yeah, you're right, we're not having it. I forgot what I was going to say. I keep thinking I'll write notes, but then you say something else really good and I forget. Yeah, so what was I going to say? It's gone.
It'll come in a minute. It'll come back.
It'll come in a minute. It'll come back to me in a minute. It will. Yeah, it will. For me, it's that not having it. You know, we need to. That was it. I knew it would come back to me. We have been conditioned from such a young age that the mind is the thing that it's like a god, you know, it's the thing that, you know, disregard the heart, disregard anything else, disregard nature, disregard all that stuff. It's irrelevant. What we need to follow is we need the brain and we need science, and we, you know, they're the only things we need to follow. And we've been so conditioned that this is the way forward. We've completely forgotten who we are, you know, our true selves. And so, you know, that coming back to the heart, and really valuing your heart and reconnecting with things like your intuition. You know, we're so disconnected from intuition. You know, it's considered witchery, you know, if you don't have facts and figures to back up what you're saying. But we've lost sight with our, you know, with our intuition. And we need to get back to these very natural places for human beings where we're following our hearts and we're following our intuition and we're making decisions based on what we feel is right, not a whole bunch of, you know, bloody statistics that have been manipulated, but what we feel is the right thing for us. That's what we fundamentally need to get back to. So yeah, I'm with you. We're not having it. That's going to be my new mantra for the next month. We are not having it. The end.
I love the way you say that. That needs to be an advert for your BBB. I'm not having it.
Not having it.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, our intuition is our gut, and it's, you know, spoken from the heart. It comes into our gut. So we're actually, I feel that by not using intuition, you're having a disconnect. You're stopping here. Yeah. You know, you're just using a very small part of your body and your energy. You're not engaging the full chakras of the body. You know, yes, I have mentioned that word because some go, the
C word. Oh my God,
the new C word. Yeah, but you're not engaging part of your body. You know, you're just using a certain part of your energy. Therefore, you know, that I personally see that is part of the reason why there's so much, you know, so much low immunity, illness, you know, vulnerability to illnesses, because we're not engaged fully. Sorry, let me rephrase it, because I'm being very mindful of the we word. Brilliant, Maria Adriana is really raising my awareness of this royal we word. But, you know, I feel since I've started really using my intuition and really allowing my heart and my gut to have the first say, let's put it that way. I let them have the first say. And then I engage this to go, right, okay, and what does my mind think about? What does my brain think about that? And my life has just gone to new levels of joy, of happiness. You know, I've moved in the middle of lockdown, I moved to the coast. Bonkers idea, really. But actually one of the best decisions I've made in a long time. So, you know, it is about it. I feel it's about that. And actually, when we start allowing those parts of our body to really engage, then the Dharma starts speaking up, because it's given the space to, because we're allowing that part of our body to feel engaged, and actually, and know that it doesn't all need to come from here. But the thing, folks, I'd like to give a warning to is that, yes, people will say, are you mad? You know, what, you're going to start your own business? What, you're going to, you know, start a new business? Or what, you're going to start doing charity work when you're busy already? Whatever it is that's pulling you, if your heart's pulling you in a direction, ignore the naysayers and thank them and bless them, because actually what the naysayers will do is provide you with an opportunity to explain your truth. So, and I say this about trolls as well, you know, because there's a lot of trolling now when people are speaking up about their spirituality or there's a lot of trolling, and it's very aggressive, and sadly mostly to women. So, but what I'd say to anyone who's being trolled, and you know, I've been trolled a lot in the last year, and by someone who is very professional and highly regarded, however, decided to troll me. But what I do is I send him love and I send him gratitude, because every time he trolls me and every time someone says, Jo, have you seen this? I then have to go, oh, okay, I don't like that, but what's my truth? Oh, I know my truth. And it notches up the level of truth and of absolute belief in myself. So I'm grateful. I'm absolutely grateful for every negativity and every moment that someone challenges me or what I'm doing. Bring it on, I say, and I say thank you.
Do you know what? That's very advanced, because that would piss me right off.
No, it's a gift, Tracey. It's a gift. It's an absolute gift. We'll chat off air about this. We can deal with that. We'll deal that in a second. So I love it. So let's kind of come on to kind of mentoring, because you and I both mentor, and we're both, you're definitely more of a coach than I am. That kind of part of work I love to leave to guys like you that just have that ability to be phenomenally strategic and progressive in what you do. And where do you see that? Because obviously coaching has taken off, and rightly so.
Yeah.
Because get yourself a coach and get yourself a mentor, even if it's like you're stretching the budget. And believe me, I know I've done it, but stretch the budget. Getting the people that are ahead of you, supporting and guiding you, will help you get to where you want to go to faster. But where do you see moving gradually around?
Following the sun, I can say.
It's I'm enjoying it, but I'm trying to sort of stay out of it as well, otherwise I'm going to be blinded. So where do you see that going, and what do you see the role of coaches in this new awakening world?
So I think, if we go back a long time ago, there have always been coaches and mentors. It's part of being a human being. We used to be very tribal, and we'd have coaches and mentors to help us with our children and to help us with the stages in life, and how do we grow vegetables. And so we've always had that. And as we've I would say devolved, we've that whole community thing has been split. So we find ourselves, I talk to people all day long who just don't have support with kids, which is crazy. And so I think the future is community. I think it's there's not necessarily one person is going to take you from here to here, but what you're going to find is you're going to have one person from here to here, and then someone else to here, or someone else that kind of does this bit, and then someone else that does this bit. So the future for me is where we come back to communities of individuals that have expertise in specific areas, and they pull their resources to help everybody move forward. That's that's what BBB is about, and that's what I think the future is. Back to that tribal community where we're all for one and one for all. That's what I think the future holds for coaching.
Yeah, well, and I know obviously I'm a fan because I'm part of your group, but I felt that the minute I landed into BBB. And I've definitely felt it in other networks before, but instantly it was like, right, what can I do for you? What can I do for you? And that will and desire to serve is why we're here, actually. And that is the truth of Dharma, because the Dharma is it's about being here to serve and discovering what it is that you can do to serve, and what you can uniquely do. So I think that's part of it. I'm just going to drop in something, because obviously there's a lot of spiritual growth going on, and you and I have talked about lives. We've talked about our previous lives a bit before we came live. There's a lot of lives in there. But I just feel like dropping this one in before we finish off, because where we've been before, and even if you just want to think of this life, where you've been before in this life, but I very much have been clearing in the last month a lot of my previous lives, and there's always a reason. So I think what I'd like to just mention at this point is that when there's something that is in you and you're feeling in you that feels a bit kind of like a disconnect, it's like, why do I have that? I'd just like to offer that it may not be this life's experience that is holding you back. It may be from another. And I would just encourage you to explore what that is, and actually allow, like you said, Tracey, give yourself permission to bring that into the now and go, that's okay. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be human. So let's just be human and recognize our mistakes and our errors and that was a massive pain in the arse of what that caused me or what I did, or we've all done it, but holding on to it is one of the very worst things I think we can do.
It is.
Because that doesn't serve us. That's negative energy, and you explained it beautifully earlier. Holding on to a negative energy when you're trying to be in positive energy is going to be a battle, and that's exhausting. That really is. Let's come on to energy, Tracey, before we finish, because I know energy is a big part of your message, George's message. Obviously you and George Swift, you're founders of BBB. I mean, I have seen your energy change and evolve since I
Yep.
first met you. That was probably, I reckon, 8 years ago. I think I first met you in London, and yeah, all the way back. But what would you like to sort of bring up and bring to the table on energy as before we finish off?
So I think the important thing to understand is we are evolving, and regardless of which camp you're on, the spiritual camp, which is we're moving into a new dimension, or the non-spiritual camp, which is the world is bloody changing and I don't really know what's going on. Fundamentally, we are evolving, and evolution is painful. It's not an easy thing. We're in it now, so regardless, it's happening, but it's not an easy thing for us to do. And we need to understand that the energy of the world has changed and is changing. And in order for us to feel less uncomfortable, we have got to transition with the energy of the world. And it's been very masculine, and I don't mean good masculine. So we have good masculine and good feminine energy, and then we have out of balance masculine and out of balance feminine energy. And the world for a very long time has been out of balance masculine energy. And what we're seeing now is a transition where we're moving into a balance between the good feminine and the good masculine. What we definitely don't want is to move too far into the feminine, because it's the balance that is gonna basically save the world, if you like. So we have to be open to those changes. We have to think about how we approach things, which is much less aggressive. It's much softer. It's much more open. It's much more nurturing and loving and healing and caring and serving. And so, we have to be mindful of that and allow your body intuitively knows what to do. So if you're open to the changes in the energies, you'll naturally evolve into leveraging more of the kind of, the good side of the masculine, the more feminine energies. So I think I've definitely changed over the last 8 years dramatically. I mean, the core of me is still there. But in terms of who I am as a person, even the thoughts, feelings, beliefs that I have now are just completely different. So for me, it's about allowing that transition. And I'm having conversations with people all the time that are waking up to this. It's fascinating for me. But yeah, just be open and just allow those new energies to permeate, because it is new. It can be terrifying, but it's all good. Just allow them to permeate and soften. So allow yourself just to soften a little bit more as you move forward.
Yeah, and the beauty of doing that, I feel, is that you will attract more of the same, because that's how it works. That's the law of attraction. And so just step by step, it will happen by the law that you will naturally bring in a different kind of person to work with, different mindset of money mindset. It's just across the board, isn't it? It's just It's absolutely magical, and that's the beauty of the universe, really. Tracey, we could talk for hours, and I know we will probably after this call. But it's been amazing, and I really appreciate you coming on my first Dharma talk. If anyone would like to reach out to Tracey, then please connect with Tracey on LinkedIn. Obviously, you can go to the BBB Bigger, Brighter, Bolder website and connect with her there too. And obviously me too. So if you would like to know more about BBB, contact me and I can send you a link to connect you with Tracey, and I can do it that way. But it's been an absolute total joy and pleasure to speak to you today, Tracey. Thank you so much for coming on the first Dharma Show.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute privilege. I don't talk about this stuff very often, so it's been really nice just to have an open conversation about it. So yeah, I've loved every minute of it. Thank you for having me, Jo.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much to you for watching or listening. Please give us some feedback, send us some comments, and I will keep you posted for the next Dharma Show. But from Tracey and I today, thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.